Hi everybody, it's Marg again with Creative Stamping with Marg. I have another quick and easy card layout to share with you today, February the 7th, 2023. This video I'm going to start with my inspiration, which was a swap card that I received quite a long time ago, but it is a good layout and I thought I'd share it with you. So the card looks like this. Designer series paper strip in the back here, and I can tip it a bit. You can see that it's been put through an embossing folder, making it really interesting when you see it up close. And then a square piece of cardstock with stamping on it and the greeting. All right, so that's sort of where I started. When I measured these pieces out, I'll show you this. I have sort of templates for it. This piece of designer series paper was 2 3/4 inches by 5.5. So I thought, great, that's good. Then this square was 3.5 square. And I thought, if I was using a piece of 6 by 6 paper, that wouldn't fit. So I took a piece of 6 by 6 paper and I laid this on like that. And then I thought, okay, what size square could it be? Well, it measures 3. I've got left 3 1/4 inch. So I thought, okay, there's a 3 1/4 inch square. Then I would have a nice 1/2 inch strip right at the bottom. You know how I like to put that on the inside of my cards. So that would be there. And then what am I left with? Well, I'm left with 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So that's perfect. That's a great template for a 6 inch piece of DSP, 6 inch square. So that worked for me because I thought I'm not wasting any paper this way. So there's the template. I will put all these sizes. We'll talk about the sizes as we go along, but I'll show you the card we're going to put together today. So what I chose today was soft suede cardstock, and our card is going to open this way. So the piece is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5.5. That's our base. Then here's our 2 3/4 by 5.5 inch piece of designer series paper, and I did put it through the embossing folder to give it some texture. So that is the painted texture embossing folder. And oh, this paper that I'm using is from the mini catalog called Fancy Flora, and it looks very much like oil painting. Gorgeous paper. So this is the one I chose today, and I thought we could put it like that. And then this, the reverse side of this paper is this. This is the 3 1/4 inch square. Well, I thought, okay, if I'm going to do the same layout as this one, oh, well, it really covers up some of the beautiful paper, like a lot of the beautiful paper. So I thought, oh, don't really like that. So I set that to the side. I took the other piece that we had that was 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, reversed it, and I thought, oh, well, maybe that's better because I could put it there, and I thought it would look okay, and it doesn't cover everything up. And my idea was that I was going to stamp right on this paper because it's fairly neutral. So that looked all right, but I wasn't thrilled with it. So I thought, well, we have new fine, let me think, fine shimmer paper. I have to see if that's what it's called. Yes, fine shimmer paper, and it has a gold. It's beautiful, very soft, not like our glitter paper, and it's thick. It's like cardstock. So I thought, well, maybe if I cut a piece of that and I layered this under it, that gives it a little bit, makes it a little more exciting, not so blah looking. So I thought that looked okay. I was happy with that. Here's my 1/2 inch strip that I had, and I also put it through the embossing folder at the same time, so I will put that on the inside of my card. All right, so then I thought, okay, this looks okay, and I'm semi-happy with it, but then I thought, well, I'm making a sympathy card today, and I am using something fancy stamp set, and this is the sentiment I'm using with Deepest Sympathy. This is a really nice set. It has a lot of nice words on it. So I thought I would choose that. And I am going to stamp right on my designer series paper. So we can do that now. I've got the stamp is mounted already. And it is a red rubber stamp, so I don't need my pierce mat underneath it. And I have soft suede ink, which I have inked up today, fresh. So I want to just try it on a piece of scrap paper to see how, if it's really, oh. I'm getting kind of a, maybe it needed more ink than I inked it up with. Wow. All right, I think I'm good with it. I'm going to just put it in this bottom corner, which is the lightest part of this paper, and hope for the best. That looks pretty good. Whoops. So there it is there with deepest sympathy, and it looks dark enough so that you can see it on this paper. I'm going to put it here. Happy enough with that. Now I thought, was there anything else I would want to do with this card in order to make it, the front look better? So I did pull out the open weave ribbon in the evening evergreen, and I thought maybe I would run a piece of this before I lay this down. And I thought I kind of liked the look of that. So what I will do is I'll just wrap this around the bottom of this piece of designer series paper before I attach it to my card front. And you can do that by putting a little seal on it. Just get my mat in here. And I'm thinking I want it this way, I think. So on the bottom edge, now I don't always have luck with this, making this work very well, but hopefully there's one and one on this side. Today's not going to be my day with this. There we go. All right, so I would put my ribbon around and just stick it down on the back where I put the glue, and then pull it across like that and around. Now I'm going to need some scissors to cut that. Okay. So I think that just gives it a little more definition when it goes onto our card. Like that. I think that looks good. So we can glue that on, and I'm going to use my liquid glue. Get that glued on here. Make sure I'm opening the right way. Done that before. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to glue this onto the shimmer paper. Even edges all the way around, hopefully. Looks pretty good. Okay, and we're ready to put that on. Now you could put it over here. Actually, I do like it over there a bit better, I think, than over here. And I am going to put it up on dimensionals. So one in each corner and a couple maybe in the middle so it doesn't sag. bad. All right. Take the backings off. Go. And I think I'll move this out of the way so we can see what we're doing here. And I think I'm going to put it out there. Like the look of that. Now, you could take another piece of your ribbon if you don't like this just bare here, and you could thread it underneath and tie a knot. I can do that and we'll see what it looks like, and I may leave it on there and I may not. I didn't really want a bow on here, but not sure I like that, so I'm going to take it off. And I'm thinking maybe it would just look good just the way it is without anything there. I think I'm just going to leave it. Now, I did pull out some gold pearls, and I thought we would just put a couple on in a couple of different places and make it, give it a little bit of bling, I guess. Seeing I added that gold paper, I think I'm just going to do it like that. Okay, that's the front of our card. Easy enough. Now for the inside, I have a white piece cut, 4 by 5 1/4. And remember, I had this piece that I had put through the embossing folder already. It is 6 inches long, so it's a bit longer than it needs to be. So we will glue it in here. And remember, I said if my piece is too long, I usually lay it next to the piece I'm gluing it to, and then I know where I'm going to end up and cut off that end piece. Okay, so it's just like this, and you can put this as close to the bottom as you want, right at the bottom if you like it like that. It can even run up the side if you want it. And then I just turn it over and trim it off because it's sticking out that little bit. All right, then that's ready to be glued inside. I know I've said this before, when I make sympathy cards, I often don't put a greeting in the inside, and I do that when I am getting ready to send it because I like to make it more personal to the person that I'm sending it to. So depending on who I'm sending it to, depends what I put inside. So there's our card. And again, if you wanted to put that loop of ribbon through here and tie it in a knot, you could. Very simple. Basically the same layout as this, except I used not the big square, I used a rectangle instead. So there's that one. And I have my envelope here for this one. And I thought, didn't really want to use the paper on the flap of my envelope this time, because I would need another sheet of the paper, because there isn't, all I've got left now is just this little piece, this square. So I would have to get another sheet of it. So instead, I went looking through my stamps, and I found Artistically Inked, which has been in our annual catalog. And this flower right here, and this little center, I used these in Soft Succulent. I stamped the big flower in Soft Succulent and the center in the Evening Evergreen. And I thought that looked nice with this particular paper. So that's what my envelope looks like this time. So there's that. All right, so all those supplies. And I did make one more card with this layout, more traditionally like this one. And I used the paper that we get for, that you get free for celebration, called Dandy Designs. So much paper in this package. So this was the piece that I made. So this is the piece of paper I used, and I went with the colors that were in it. So this is Granny Apple Green, this is Fresh Freesia, And there's our square. So there's our square, 3¼ inch square. There's our 2 3/4 by 5½ piece. I did not put this paper through an embossing folder. I stamped like this card was stamped on the square. I stamped on this square. And on the inside, this card opens this way, and on the inside, there's my inside. So I'll show you what I used for that. Oh, and here's my envelope. I did put paper on the flap of that one. All right, so for this one, I used the Beautifully Happy stamp set, which is a free celebration gift with a $120 order in Canada. I used Sending Happy Thoughts from this set on the card, and on the inside I put For a Very Happy Birthday. This is the flower, and it is a 2-step stamping procedure. So I stamped this in gray granite, and then the flowers in fresh freesia, the leaves in granny apple green, and then these little buds and whatnot that go on the top here, I used Bermuda Bay, because that's a color that's in here. And it is an easy stamp to line up because they are photopolymer. The stamps are clear, so you can see through them. So they're easy to line up when you go to color. It doesn't have to be perfect, of course. And then I pulled out my scalloped contour dies, and it has this die in it for the edge, and I thought, oh, that just finished it off. I did use a sponge dauber, as this person did. They used a sponge around their white piece, and I thought, oh, that makes it kind of stand out. I don't even know if you can tell, but I did use my sponge dauber, and I used granny apple green ink around. Then on the inside, I used one of the different flowers that's in that stamp set, one of the smaller ones, right at the top there, and again used the same colors. However, I had an ink splot here of granny apple green. Must have been on my fingers. And I went, oh dear, so how am I going to look after that? Well, I didn't want to throw this paper out because I'd already stamped the greeting, I'd already done the flower. I hadn't glued it in here yet, so I thought, well, I could flip it over if I had to, but I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. So there are little splatter or splotches stamps in this, which I didn't even notice. So I go looking in my stash for a stamp set that has those, and Oceanfront has those. So I pulled that stamp out, and I took the Bermuda Bay, stamped it off, and then I went ahead and stamped over top of my little faux pas. I had one there and one there. And now no one knows that there's granny apple green ink on the inside of my card. So I saved the inside, so that was good. I also sponged around the edge with my sponge dauber with granny apple green. Again, it doesn't really show up too much. Maybe at the top there you can see it. But it does make it stand out a little bit better from the cardstock. Added a fresh freesia bow and some embellishments here. These are, let me see if I can find them. These are the in-color opal rounds that I used, and I used the fresh freesia ones. So I just put those on there. And that's the other card we made. So there are the 2 cards that I made from this same inspiration, tweaking it a little bit because I wanted to make sure that I was using up my 6x6 paper in the best way I could. And so I do have that template made now. So you can use that template to help you. And like I said, this one used this piece, and this one used this piece. So it's very versatile, no wasting of your paper. And that was the inspiration, the card that was the inspiration for me. And those cards look to me very different. A sympathy card, a birthday card, and this one just says wishing you the best. All right, so below the video today will be all the sizes of the paper that I used and If you have any questions, you can comment on the videos. I try to look at them once they've posted online. Hope you enjoyed this and have a great night. Okay.